Good afternoon and welcome to our workshop today on micro-internships. My name is Mallory Newby and I am a career coach at the University Career Center, and I'll be moderating today's session. So we want to invite you to participate in today's workshop by posting your questions in the Q&A section in Teams, and then we'll answer those in the order in which they are received. So this workshop is being recorded and will be available on our website at www.louisville.edu/career, along with our other recorded workshops. And so let's go ahead and meet our presenter, Miss Maddie McNabb. She is the internship coordinator at the University Career Center, and she'll be leading today's workshop on micro-internships.
Thank you for the introduction, Mallory. As you mentioned, today's workshop is all about micro-internships and our partnership with Parker Dewey. We will start with a brief introduction to micro-internships. From there, I will walk participants through using Parker Dewey's website, from creating an account to applying to projects. We will discuss what happens when an applicant is selected for a project and what they should do upon its completion. And we will finish with any final questions. Micro-internships are exactly what they sound like, short-term internships. They are project-based assignments comparable to those given to interns or new hires. They are not meant to replace traditional full-time internships, but rather serve as a complement to them and provide an additional opportunity for students to gain professional experience while exploring their career interests. Micro-internships can span various departments, roles, company sizes, and industries, from IT to human resources, just to name a couple. Projects typically range from 5 to 40 hours of work over a few days to a month. Most micro-internships are completed remotely, although some companies offer on-site opportunities. There are a number of benefits to completing micro-internships. They provide students with a low-risk career exploration opportunity, as they will give you an idea of what an entry-level position in that industry looks like. Don't limit yourself because of your major. Apply to any project that sounds remotely interesting, no matter the industry, and you may be surprised by how much you enjoy the work. And I say low risk because if you don't enjoy the work, it is just one project and not an entire summer or semester-long internship. Students get the opportunity to expand their knowledge of the infinite number of companies they could potentially work for post-graduation. Micro-internships are also a great way to enhance one's professional and soft skills. The work done on projects will strengthen your professional skill set, while the communication you have with employers, for instance, gives you the opportunity to practice your workplace communication skills. While micro-internships obviously grow your network in terms of company contacts, they also give you an opportunity to connect with U of L alumni, faculty, and staff that may have experience doing similar work to the project you are completing. Use your network and reach out to these people for assistance or advice. If nothing else, micro-internships provide students an opportunity to earn some extra cash. Payment for projects typically ranges from $200 to $600. Parker Dewey is U of L's partnership platform to connect students with micro-internships. They facilitate micro-internships between companies and applicants, and they provide the service at no cost to students. So are there any questions before we move on to our walkthrough of Parker Dewey's website?
Yeah, there is one question here. Are micro-internships available for international students?
Yes, they are available to international students, but I would double check with our International Student Services Office to make sure and confirm your eligibility.
And there's one last question here. Are there any fees involved with getting signed up for a micro-internship?
There are absolutely no fees for students. Everything on the student side is free.
Awesome. Okay, I think we're good for questions right now.
Okay, thank you, Mallory. So walking through the platform, the first step is going to be creating your free account through the U of L landing page using your school email address. It's pretty basic. I'm sure you've done it before. You'll be asked to provide your name and email address and a password. And Mallory is going to put the link to our landing page in the chat. Once you've created your account, start filling in your profile. It is important to complete your profile as much as possible because employers heavily rely on this information when making their selections. The extra effort will look good to employers. Go through all the steps as I did for my profile on the screen. I highly recommend uploading a professional looking photo to distinguish yourself from other candidates. Then fill in the profile information, including a brief personal statement, hobbies, any certifications or trainings you have completed, affiliations. This would include any student organizations or extracurriculars, skills. Don't be shy here. You have more experience than you think. Include any computer platforms you use for school and social media platforms you are familiar with. You can also link your website or portfolio, your Twitter account, and your LinkedIn pages here. Think about what you want employers to see before connecting your personal social media like Twitter, though. Next, add your experience. This includes internships, part-time and full-time jobs, student organizations and leadership experience, sports, etc., and include a brief description of what you did or achieved in those positions. Add your education information and upload a resume. Shameless plug here, if you have not had your resume reviewed by the UCC, please submit one through our document drop program before uploading it to your Parker Dewey profile. Parker Dewey also gives you the option to upload any other documents. This can include work samples, articles, presentations, any Excel documents you've worked on, and uploading these tells employers you are serious about their micro-internship offering. Lastly, input the requested demographic information if you desire. Once your profile is completed, go back to the Opportunities page. Here you can browse currently available micro-internships and use the tabs at the top to view the projects you've applied to or hired for, completed, and your messages. From the Opportunities page, you can see the company name, the project title, start date, department, and if the project is remote versus on-site. To see more information, click Details. This will give you a longer job description, a company description, the due date, estimated number of hours to completion, the skills the employer is looking for in a candidate, and payment information. All students have access to all postings, no matter institution, major, or GPA. Due to the short-term nature of micro-internships, openings rotate quickly, so browse openings frequently and apply to any interesting postings ASAP to be sure you don't miss out on them. So I think this social media contributor position for all-for-one learning solutions looks interesting, and I have some of the skills they listed as desired, so I want to apply for it. The application process is pretty simple. You will be asked to respond to one or more short answer questions. The first question for every project asks why you believe you're a good fit for the job. Don't submit a generic response here. Clearly articulate your experience and include any similar projects you have completed for other jobs, internships, class projects, etc. For example, in this instance, I would specifically mention my experience using Hootsuite, a content management system, and my successes in increasing the number of Instagram followers on the UCC's page. Your responses should be a few sentences in length. Don't go too short or too long. Respond carefully and edit closely. Parker Dewey reports that the short answer responses are the biggest determining factor in candidate selection. You can track your application progress on the Opportunities page. If a project is still listed under the Applied tab, you are still under consideration. My last piece of advice is don't give up. Like any job search, you may not get selected for every micro-internship you apply for. It's nothing personal, so please continue to apply. Okay, I'm going to return to Mallory. Are there any new questions before we move on to what happens after being selected for a micro-internship?
That's great information on how to get applied and how to get your information out there. One of the questions that we have is, what types of industries are posting projects on Parker Dewey?
Okay, so Mallory got cut off there, but I think I understood where the question was going. So like I mentioned before, the opportunities span a wide array of industries. I think the two I mentioned before are HR and IT, but I would also include in there's a lot of marketing opportunities like the one that I looked at, and there's a lot of data collection and like data documentation, a lot of projects that you would work on in a traditional internship environment.
Okay, and hopefully I'm not going to cut off anymore here. So another question is about what is, the definition of the employment status, I guess. So when you are completing a micro internship, are you technically an employee or are you an independent contractor?
That's a great question. So you are an independent contractor for Parker Dewey. So part of the reason that Parker Dewey came up with this platform is that it makes it easier on employers to hire individuals for project-based work like this, because it alleviates some of the tedious HR paperwork that they have to complete for all of their employees. So you are technically an independent contractor, or you can also use the term consultant for Parker Dewey.
Thank you. Another question here is, if once you've applied for a micro internship, is there a way to follow up or contact that employer?
So to my understanding, there is not, because you won't receive the contact information for the company until you're selected for a project. Now, I'm actually not 100% sure if you are able to message them through Parker Dewey's platform, but that is a really good question, and I will have to look into that myself.
No problem. One last question here. How many questions are typically in the application?
I think it's about 1 to 3. As I mentioned, there will always be one, which will be the question of why you think you're a good fit for the position. But anywhere from 1 to 3, I don't think they would go more than that, because they want the application process and the selection process to be as simple as possible.
Okay, and I see a few more questions that came in. How can I get an internship or a micro internship if I have no experience?
That's a great question. And I think that Parker Dewey is the perfect place for candidates who have minimal work experience, because it's an opportunity to gain that experience. And I think you'd be surprised at some of the opportunities that you don't realize are like you have experience in, like being a social media contributor. Well, you likely use social media, and I think that is something that you could definitely do, and a micro internship is the perfect opportunity for that. And it gives you a professional platform to later advertise that you do have that experience.
Absolutely. All right, I think we're good on questions now.
Okay, thank you, Mallory. Those are great questions. So congratulations, you're hired. You're really excited to complete your micro internship. So upon selection, you will receive kickoff materials from Parker Dewey via email. So remember to keep an eye on your inbox. This email will include accounting forms in order to get paid, their terms of use, and the name and contact information for your micro internship supervisor. You should immediately reach out to this person to set up time to discuss starting the project. Before starting, take a moment to reflect on the project from the employer's perspective. Understanding the importance of the project to them will make you feel more connected to the work and help you know what their expectation is. Keep in touch with your supervisor and let them know how you are progressing. Be professional in your communications with the company. Don't use any slang words and format your emails in a professional manner. Ask for help when you need it. Reach out to your supervisor if you need help, but be sure to do your due diligence first. Don't ask them a question that can easily be answered on their website or through a Google search. This is also a good opportunity to reach out to the UCC or anyone else in your network, including faculty, staff, or alumni with the expertise in that field for assistance. Above all else, submit your best work. Remember, this is real-world professional experience. Check and recheck your work. An exceptional job could yield further opportunities with the company, including a full-time internship or job offer. Once you're finished, mark a project as completed on your dashboard to formally notify the employer and Parker Dewey of your completion. Then the employer will verify with Parker Dewey that the project is completed. Payment will come from Parker Dewey via either direct deposit or physical check, depending on what you selected in the accounting form. Payments are processed at the end of each month. Send a thank you to your company contact via email. Thank them for the opportunity and mention what you gained from the experience. The employer will provide feedback for your work. You can access this under the Completed tab on the Opportunities dashboard. Add your work experience to your resume and LinkedIn profile. List it as working as an independent contractor or consultant for Parker Dewey. Describe the project without sharing any confidential information. Only mention the company's name if they give you permission. If they say no, you can still list this experience and describe what you did without explicitly naming the company. Stay in touch with the company because you never know when it could turn into a longer-term opportunity. So that is all I have for you all today. Are there any final questions?
Thank you, Maddie. We do have some questions here. So how do you list these micro internships on your resume and on your LinkedIn profile?
That's a great question. I would list it under the work experience section, but like I mentioned, list it as you can say an independent contractor or that you are a consultant for Parker Dewey. And you are asked to sign a non-disclosure agreement. So like I mentioned, don't mention the company specifically unless you asked for permission outright. You can still describe what you did, but don't list the company name.
And is there a limit to the number of micro internships you can do?
There is not. You can apply to all of the openings that are available if you want. There's typically about 25 to 50 openings on their website, and if you so desire, you could apply to all of them. Now, I mean, you do need to keep in mind that you need to make sure that you have enough time to devote to the micro internships you're selected for. So you wouldn't want to apply to too many and then get selected for too many and have too much on your plate, not be able to submit your best work.
And this question is about credit. So can I receive academic credit for a micro internship through Parker Dewey?
That is a great question. And I think that would depend on the requirements that your department has for what it takes to receive academic credit for an internship. I think a lot of them would maybe expect it to be a month long or a whole semester long, and this isn't really that. So I think that would be dependent on the department and on the employer, and you would have to work that out with them.
And another question, can my career coach help me with adding these experiences to my resume?
Absolutely. So the UCC is here to help with Parker Dewey and micro internships and all your internship needs. And if you want to meet with your career coach about applying for micro internships, absolutely. And you can also submit a draft of your short answer responses through the document drop program, and we would get those back to you as soon as possible. Now, I would keep in mind that the micro internship opportunities do rotate frequently, so you want to make sure you don't miss out on that opportunity, but we would try our best to get those back to you in a timely manner.
Yeah,
I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, Mallory, but is it 24 hours? If it's a business day, that they will get it back to you?
48 hours, 48 business hours. And I did submit I posted the link to our document drop in this Q&A section, so you can bookmark that, save that, do what you like. But yeah, it's a 48 hours business day service. But I just second everything that Maddie says. We would be happy to help review your application materials, and also once you've completed projects, help you list those on your resume in a way that focuses on your skills and your experience.
Yeah, we love our career coaches. Thank you, Mallory.
Aw. Well, we're really excited about this opportunity because I do think it's a great way for students who maybe can't take time to do a traditional internship. It's a great way to get experience and get paid. So we're really excited
absolutely.
About that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Question here about feedback. So would we receive feedback from the employer after the micro internship is over?
Yes, the employers are asked to complete a feedback form, and you can access that information on your Parker Dewey account. And that is another, like, if an employer gives you outstanding feedback for a project, that's where I highly recommend stay in touch with that employer, because you never know what opportunities may come available and you will be in their mind.
Absolutely. It's a great way to build connections. I don't think we have any new questions at this point.
Well, thank you to everyone who joined us today. If you have any further questions about micro internships or Parker Dewey, please feel free to email me. It's madison.mcnabb@louisville.edu. I don't know if Mallory can also put that in the chat because I didn't put it on the slide. But be sure to follow us on our socials to stay up to date on the UCC's virtual event and resource options. And that's at U of L Careers everywhere. And be on the lookout for more Parker Dewey tips and tricks to stand out during the micro internship selection process. Thank you again and have a great day.